Nice. Good afternoon. Muy buenas tardes. Derby fans, we are back at BESTERNS 2017. Mr. Clitter, I am going to be hanging out with you for the next bout of the afternoon, featuring Wasatch Midnight Terror wearing their dark blue jerseys. They're going to be squaring off against the Boulder County Bombers All-Stars. They're wearing their white jersey trimmed in that gold and black. Both teams making similar treks to this bout. BCB, Boulder County, lost in the first bout of the tournament to Jet City. Then they came back with a big victory against Treasure Valley. On the other side, Wasatch with a disappointing performance against Rocky Mountain, but made up for it with a big win against Tucson yesterday. That puts us right here. We are battling things out for 5th and 6th place. Obviously, the winner takes 5th place. The loser takes 6th. I'm going to run through rosters really quickly. We've got about 2 minutes before that first whistle blows. For Wasatch Midnight Terror in the blue, we've got 00 Carpe Jugula, number 11 Obliterator, number 119 Riot Atcha, 128 is Penny Slane, number 13 is Bruiser Ego, number 19 Chiquita Wabamia, 216 is Reckless, 300 is Super Smash Brawler, 54 is Smashly, 700 Triple X, number 8 Sookie Slap House, number 801 is Orange Crusher, 88 is Wee Smasha, and 91 is Ole Chole. On the Boulder County side, with the white jerseys, number 10 is Unprotected Lex, number 117 Mussolini, 1337 is Glitterous, 2020 is X-Ray Vixen, and number 3 Deputies. 333 is Hat Trick, number 40 is Speedlejuice, 408 Brassica Alracia, 451 Dynafire, number 50 is the original Skankster, 57 is Sauce, 63 is Max Wrecker, number 8 is Evil X, 815 is Feisty One, and number 88 is Catastrophe. Don't forget, we have what will be 2 more bouts today. That'll close out BESTERNS 2017. Hopefully, if you can't be here at Foothills Fieldhouse in Lakewood, Colorado, you can follow us on the stream. When we conclude this one, we're going to play for 3rd and 4th place. That is going to be Sac City and Jet City, all culminating in the championship bout starting right here at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Rocky Mountain, the host league, making some moves and ended up in that championship game against Arizona Roller Derby. Couple nice little fun facts here. Boulder County has been really, really busy already in 2017. 6 WFTDA sanctioned bouts. They have been the busiest of all of the teams here at the BESTERNS tournament. So they came in with a record of 1-5. With the 1-1 record this weekend, they are now at 2-6, looking to go to 3-6. On the other side, Wasatch comes in with a record in 2017 of 1-2. With that 1-1 record they have accumulated this weekend, they are now 2-3 on the 2017 season. We are just about ready to go. There is the whistle that will get us going. 5-second call. And here we go. The quest for 5th place in 2017's BESTERN tournament. Ole Chole, the captain for Wasatch, wearing the star, and Feisty One for Boulder, working it out. Feisty is bumped off on the inside part of that front stretch. Ole Chole trying that outside edge, doesn't quite work. The lateral movement of Boulder's defense is doing a fantastic job as we close in onto turn 1. Both jammers hitting the track, bouncing back to work. Feisty One, lead jammer for Boulder. Ole Chole not far behind, probably about 20 feet separating the 2 jammers as that pack sets up at turn 2. Feisty One engages a quick tap of the hips as soon as contact is made. And Boulder drawing first blood with a 1-0 tally after that first jam. We got 2 teams that are used to the altitude. That shouldn't be an issue. It's their 3rd bout in as many days. First bout, obviously, of the day, and we'll see if they can maintain the energy after a long weekend. The bruises, the muscle soreness as it adds up could play a factor into this, really testing the conditioning of both of these squads. Smashly wearing the star for Wasatch. X-Ray Vixen held up in the back by a 3-wall. Smashly, she has been so effective all weekend long. Midnight Terror, congratulations, you command the action with that lead jammer. X-Ray Vixen fighting off the hit at turn 1, staying on the track. Both jammers eligible for points. Smashley makes the pass, taps the hips, and drops it like it's hot. 4-0 during that frame. This next jam is going to feature Ole Chole and Feisty One again on the line. Both of these teams seem to have had similar takes on the jammer rotations. They're starting out the first couple jams with only 2 jammers, and then as the action opens up, they introduce a third, fourth, and even a 5th jammer. Yet to have a penalty. Nice clean game through 2 jams. Ole Chole bumped off on the outside part of that front stretch, has to recycle back. Dyna Fire with a good hit there in the recycling. At the front part of the pack, Feisty One is your lead jammer. We also have our first penalty assessed. This is going to be to a Wasatch blocker. Looks like Orange Crusher is going to hang out in the sin bin as Feisty One engages the pack, squeezes through, and starts tapping those hips. It's going to be a 2-point tally for Boulder, holding Wasatch scoreless. So after 3 jams, we've got 27 minutes on the clock, 4-3 in favor of the skaters from Utah. Catastrophe called for a penalty for Boulder County at the end of that jam. So that's the first penalty against the All-Stars. Ole Chole, X-Ray Vixen, battling things out. 3-on-3 is the pack scenario. Ole bumped down at that pivot line. That's the original Skankster, the captain, leading by example. Brassical Ratia as well in the support role, bumping Ole off and then recycling back to the pivot line. On the other side, X-Ray Vixen still trying to navigate through those choppy waters, yet to solve that riddle. Ole Chole, lead jammer, Wasatch. Hot on the trail, though, is X-Ray Vixen, and that is going to lead to a call-off without any points being scored. So both of those teams score exactly the same amount as I did when I was in high school. We're going to try to reset that. We got plenty of time to do that. At least that's what I used to tell myself every Friday night, twice on Saturdays, as I cried into my textbooks. Four 3-pack advantage for Wasatch when the whistle blows. Catastrophe hanging out in the box, but standing, so less than 10 seconds remaining in that penalty. Smashley, inside edge on the toe stops, lead jammer. The last time I called a Wasatch bout, she was using that edge, but it was the outside edge. She did exactly the same technique, but on the inside part of the track, and got the exact same result. Smashley runs into all kinds of resistance on that scoring pass, closes things out, but not before Midnight Terror, tallying 2. 6-4 is the score. Wasatch with the advantage. 25 minutes to go in the first half. Chiquita Wabamia wearing the star for the first time in this bout. Squaring off against Feisty One for Boulder. 5-on-5 on a track, empty penalty box in front of me. Chiquita pushing through turn 1 into turn 2. Getting some help from Super Smash Brawler, her blocker. I always like that. The 3-wall that Wasatch has put together at turn 1, doing a fantastic job against Feisty One. Right at you, currently working with Penny Slane and connected to Feisty One like they've got Velcro between them. Penny Slane, though, called on a penalty. Feisty One then takes advantage of the extra room. Boulder, you've got the lead status. Chiquita forced off at turn 2, got to recycle back to turn 1, takes that helmet cover off, trying to get it over to the pivot. As Feisty One engages the pack on the first scoring pass. Right at you, leading that defensive stance on the backstretch. Feisty One bumped off just before they get to turn 3. Chiquita also bumped off and has to recycle back to turn 2. All the action right now taking place on the backstretch. Feisty One fighting through a 3-wall. Currently being braced by Riot Atcha. Feisty fights on through, and Boulder gets a hard-earned grand slam. Brassical Reishu recycling back to turn 3, as Chiquita still not able to get through on her initial pass. And this jam is going to come to a close. Boulder has to be in love with the way their defensive stance just took place. They grabbed the lead as well, 14-6 after they win the jam 10-0. 23 minutes remain. Ole is going to roll up to the jam line for Wasatch. Relatively clean bout thus far. Another empty penalty box. Ole right through the middle. Midnight Terror, you command the action as lead. 2 Boulder County Bombers heading to the penalty box. Glitterous and Catastrophe. So a lot of room for Ole, and there we go all the way around everybody. We're going to call that a 5-point tally for Wasatch. X-Ray Vixen has the star, took that cover off, and then commits a track cut. So the captain, Ole Chole, has an opportunity to really make a mark early on in this one with a power jam. And she goes airborne between turns 3 and 4, an apex jump 5 in the sky for the Midnight Terror. Jolie dancing on the outside this time, fighting off the hit from Glitterous, and unfortunately did not stay on the track, so it's going to be a cut on Ole Chole. X-Ray Vixen released from the box. Power opportunity now for Boulder, and we're going to skate that full 2 minutes. We've got about 45 seconds remaining in the jam. X-Ray Vixen making short work of the initial pass after getting out of the penalty box. Pack's going to they're going to spread out beginning about turn 4 up to the jam line and then kind of compress there. X-Ray Vixen with a nice little move, a hop, skip, and a jump, and 5 points for the All-Stars. Ole Chole out of the box, through the pack. Midnight Terror now rolling up a tally. It's going to be a 5-point tally as a remainder of what was accumulated before the track cut. Glitterous, great defensive stance, and actually recycled back, causing a track cut at the very end of the jam before 2 minutes expires. Let's go what the score was. Boulder's going to tally 5 more points. Wasatch is going to get 2 more points. Grand total, Wasatch 22, Boulder 10 during that episode. Your current total, 28-24, Wasatch, 20 minutes and counting. But here's the interesting part. Wasatch has their jammer in the penalty box with a power start for Boulder and the All-Stars. They send Speedlejuice out there. Speedlejuice was incredible in their last bout. Just all energy all the time, bouncing around, really plowing through the blockers just like that. Right through the middle, lead jammer status for Boulder. Speedlejuice cuts to the outside, can't quite stay on the track. Right at you with a good defensive stance, forcing Speedlejuice to go to turn 1 to rejoin the action. Speedlejuice does just that. And with all kinds of energy, good lateral movement, getting bounced around, bumped down to the track. Bruiser Ego with a good hit at turn 2. Ole Chole out of the penalty box through the pack, was approaching for a scoring pass, and that is when Speedlejuice taps those hits. It's going to be a 5-point tally for the Boulder County All-Stars. And we've got ourselves a lead change. 19 minutes, 14 seconds, and ticking away. Boulder County 29, Wasatch 28. If you're just joining us, Boulder is in the white jerseys, trimmed with the black and gold. Wasatch in their patented dark blue jerseys with the white and black trim. My name is Mr. Clitoris. It is an honor and privilege to be with you today. Hopefully you can stick around for the remainder of the action as we close out a long weekend of Roller Derby BESTERNS 2017. We've got our third place game coming at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and our championship bout at 5 p.m. That will be Rocky Mountain and Arizona. Back to the track, Smashley jamming for Wasatch, but it is going to be feisty one for Boulder, grabbing that lead status. Both of these clubs do a great job traveling and supporting their leagues. We've got affiliates and fans from Boulder County and Wasatch, making Foothills Fieldhouse one heck of an energetic place for a Sunday afternoon. Feisty one hits the pack at turn 2, gets bumped down to the track, violently taps off the hips, holds Wasatch scoreless, and puts 2 on the board for the All-Stars. Ole out there for Wasatch, and it looks like Deputies debuting on the line for the afternoon for all the All-Stars. Ole! Right through on the inside part of turn 1. Midnight Terror commanding the action. Deputies not too far behind, maybe about 25 feet. As Ole whipping around 2 blockers at turn 3. And she knows exactly what to do after that. 4-0 Wasatch. And now we've got that seesaw battle as Wasatch reclaims the lead. 32-31, 17 minutes remaining here in the first half. Suki Slaphouse donning the star for the first time for Wasatch today. Did a very effective job yesterday in that bout versus Tucson. X-Ray Vixen working overtime for Boulder on the line. Suki pushing on the outside, pushing it back into the middle. Now works her way to the inside part of the track. On the other side, X-Ray Vixen still bouncing around, looking for any kind of seam to attack in that Wasatch defense. We've got a penalty called on one of the Wasatch blockers. That's going to be Wee Smasha hanging out in the box. And Suki, you are the lead jammer for Wasatch. Not too far behind, we've also got X-Ray Vixen. About a half track length now as Suki was scooting pretty good after that initial pass. Suki engages the pack, taps those hips. Let's see what the final tally is. It's going to be nothing for Boulder. Looks like Wasatch manages to tally 2 points. All those pennies eventually add up to nickels, dimes, dollars, and pays big dividends when you get your return on investment. 34-31, 15:46 left on the clock. Smashley and Speedlejuice with the pack set up towards the pivot line. It's a 4-3 advantage for Boulder. Speedlejuice, Speedlejuice, Speedlejuice. Say it 3 times and she will appear, and she does just that as your lead jammer for Boulder. Smashley gets through on the backstretch. As Speedlejuice attacks at turn 2, starts tapping the back of the hips. It's going to be another one of those things where the officials kind of got to confer first. Nothing for Wasatch, and Boulder tallies that 1 single point. Ole, ole, ole on the jam line, and Feisty one right there with her. Full complement of skaters on the track. Feisty one bumped off on the outside part of turn 1. Ole taking advantage of the chaos. And the Midnight Terror have that lead. Glitterous bumped down at turn 2. Looked like she wanted some kind of a call, but it's just going to get back to work. Big contact between Ole Chole and Catastrophe right before turn 3. Leads to the call-off, and Boulder is going to win the jam with aggressive work by their jammer, 1-0. A 1-point bout. You can't ask for anything better than this. 34-33 is your score. We've got about 14 minutes remaining. Bruiser Eagle's going to start out with a 30-second break in the box for Midnight Terror. Suki Slaphouse donning the star for the skaters from Utah. It's going to be X-Ray Vixen back to work for Boulder, getting bumped off on the inside part and recycled back behind Penny Slane. Suki bumped off on the inside part of turn 1, and Boulder doing a fantastic job extending the size of the pack and recycling back very, very far. Suki's got to go all the way back to the jam line to rejoin. Big pile up just before the pivot line will send Brassica all race you to the penalty box. And lead jammer finally established. That's going to be Boulder County about 40 seconds into the jam. X-Ray Vixen hits the pack, gets bumped off between 1 and 2. Suki Slaphouse still struggling with that Boulder County D. Hasn't made it through on her initial pass yet. Vixen, turn 2, Boulder, 5 points. Vixen trying to go airborne, did not land that apex jump's got to crawl back to the center. Penny Slane, good track awareness on what happened, recycling back where X-Ray Vixen has to go to the pivot line to rejoin. Star pass initiated and completed. Riot Atchett, who was your pivot, was your jammer at the very end as X-Ray Vixen tapping it off. But 1 point will be given to Midnight Terror, 3 more for Boulder. Boulder's going to win the frame 8-1. Overall score is going to be 41 for the All-Stars, 35 for Wasatch, only 6 points separating these two as they duke it out with 12 minutes remaining in the first half. Smashley and Deputies on the line. Suki Slaphouse accumulated a penalty after handing off that helmet cover. So there's a 4-3 pack advantage for Boulder. Smashley is going to try to negate that by grabbing lead jammer. Deputies through the pack. Smashley, 1 big pass, 4 big points. And then calls it off before Deputies can approach the pack. Wasatch really wanted to keep things going to get that penalty expire on Suki Slaphouse. Unfortunately, Deputies was coming hot and heavy into the pack. So Wasatch, with the smarter play, decided to call it off and keep Boulder scoreless. Feisty one on the line. Ole Chole out there for Wasatch. 4-3 advantage still in the pack for Boulder. Just as I say that, Suki Slaphouse released from the penalty box. Feisty one held up in the pack, and that allows Ole Chole at turn 2 to grab lead status. Hat trick was your pivot, is now your jammer for Boulder with Ole Chole doing some fancy footwork, moonwalking her way through the pack. 4 points for Midnight Terror, and they will reclaim the lead. Now 43-41, 10 minutes and ticking in the first half. So we got X-Ray Vixen wearing the gold helmet with the black star for Boulder. Smashley, blue cover, silver star, lead jammer. Smashley, oh, she telegraphed the move on the apex jump. She still did it. Boulder didn't quite stop her. And Wasatch going to tally 2. 45-41, 9.5 to go. Looks like there's a discussion center track. Papa Whiskey, coach for Boulder, making his way out. Wanted to see what's going on there. Both of the coaches actually going out there. Wanted to hear what the Zebras have to say. Official timeout called on the track. There's still that discussion going on in the middle. It might have been about how many points to award Smashley during that jump. She tried to jump that apex right about turn 2 and did not land it. The question, I think, will be when the one skate hit inbounds before she toppled over and ended up off the track, did she manage to pass any or how many Boulder blockers in the meantime? So as they do that discussion, we'll wait to hear. We've got 9 minutes, 14 seconds to go here in the first half. Big seesaw battle, back and forth, neck and neck. Nobody really grabbing a big lead at any point in time. Currently, Wasatch, Midnight Terror with a 45-41 advantage over Boulder. All of this competition, all this weekend is leading up to some big events later on in the year. Of course, we've got the Division II playoffs that come August 18th through 20th. That is going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, hosted by the Steel City Roller Derby organization. That's not just the playoffs, that's also the championships. And then Division I playoffs start September 1st through 3rd in Seattle, hosted by Rat City. Continues on the next week after that in Malmo, Sweden, hosted by Crime City. The third leg of playoffs, September 22nd through 24th in Dallas, Texas, hosted by Dallas Derby Devils. And it all culminates in the Division I championships, November 3rd through 5th in Philly, hosted by Philly Roller Derby. Doesn't look like any adjustments have been made to the score, so everything stands as it was. 45-41 in favor of Wasatch. Back on the track, Ole Chole is your lead jammer. A penalty called on Orange Crusher for Wasatch, so they will be down a blocker. Speedlejuice jamming it out for Boulder, still frustrated by that Wasatch defense at the pivot line. Ole Chole, not so much. That's 5 in the sky for the ladies in blue. Speedlejuice still fighting through that 3-wall at the pivot line, trying to get the helmet covered to her pivot. It was easier to keep going through, so now Speedlejuice through on her initial pass. Ole Chole with another 5-point tally. And then just as Speedlejuice was going to engage the pack, Ole Chole taps the hips. It's going to be 2 more. And Wasatch, with probably the biggest victory margin in a jam thus far, is going to win the frame 12-0, 57-41. Smashley and Feisty One renew their rivalry on the line. Boulder's only got 3 blockers out there as unprotected Lex is hanging out in the box. Doesn't matter, though, if you're Feisty One and you grab lead jammer. Smashley about 25 feet behind. With the pack getting into all kinds of chaos coming around turn 1 into turn 2. Along the backstretch, still not slowing down. That's fine for Feisty One. Those long legs just make that little jump over the apex nothing. Good aggression by Smashley is going to get Midnight Terror 2 points, but Boulder's going to win this episode 4-2. We're in the final 7 minutes of the first half. Ole Chole and X-Ray Vixen going to duel it out. Both squads, a blocker in the penalty box. So it's 3-on-3 in the pack. That pack smashing really, really, really close to the jam line. Ole Chole bumped off by the captain, the original skankster for Boulder, and then has to recycle back to turn 4. Brascal Racia called for another penalty for Boulder. Flipping to the other end of the pack, Ole Chole zips through. Been so good all weekend long. There's your lead. X-Ray Vixen. Fits and tantrums are coming her way via Penny Slane, the captain. One of the captains for Midnight Terror. Vixen still pushing a 3-wall that greets her at turn 2. Right at you, extending the size of the pack, so Ole Chole can continue working along the backstretch, all one big pack, and getting 5 points in a grand slam for Midnight Terror. Vixen finally solves that riddle that Wasatch put in front of her and is eligible for points as Ole Chole, so smooth, so good, so aware, cruising through backwards at turn 4. We're going to hold Boulder scoreless again, so a big momentum shift has gone to the Midnight Terror after some back and forth action. It's going to be 71-45, 5.5 minutes left here in the first half. Official review called on the track by the Wasatch Midnight Terror. I'll make a note right now. It is 71-45 with 5:18. We'll see if they're disputing points. I would assume that would be it, possibly looking for a penalty on one of the Boulder skaters. But we'll take a peek, and I will let you know just as soon as I find out. We hope you can tune in for the remainder of the BESTERNS 2017 weekend. I tell you what, these crowds have been super impressive here in Lakewood, Colorado. We have not only had good representation for the home team, the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, but all of these teams that have come from all around the Western region and collided here in Colorado have brought a nice contingent with them. We've had huge crowds, cowbells, chants, signs. It's been one heck of a weekend. I've been so proud to be part of it. If you're part of Sac City, Jet City, they're going to be playing for third place immediately following this bout. Or if you're a representative of Arizona or Rocky Mountain and can't make it here, please keep us going on the live stream, the YouTube channel, the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. It's not exactly the same as being here, but it's the next best thing. And don't forget, you can also leave messages on our chat functionality. You want to cheer that way. We'll take virtual cheering, and we'll take any kind of cheering we want. We can get. We're all about positivity and support of all these skaters out here who have put forth so much effort. Hey, our official timeout's over. We are back to work. Deputies jumping off that line very quickly, getting bumped off on the inside part of the track for Boulder. Smashley's wearing the star for the Midnight Terror, taking a more clinical approach to it, kind of picking off Boulder blockers one at a time, slowly advancing forward. Lateral movement, getting Smashley only so far, but about turn 2, runs into that Boulder wall, and they are refusing to give up anything more. Deputies bumped off at turn 2, has to recycle back to turn 1. Smashley's now got things trimmed down to a 2.5 wall, but gets bumped off as Catastrophe just at the end was able to bump her at the inside of turn 2, has to recycle back. Deputies as well has to go back behind Chiquita Wabamia. Smashley's pushing on a 3-wall that Boulder has in front of her. Catastrophe was bracing it, and Smashley just kind of spun around and backwards grabs that lead call. I was a full minute without a lead. Boulder deciding to pass that star. Catastrophe is now your jammer of record for Boulder. Smashley goes airborne at turn 3. 4 on the board for the Midnight Terror. That expands the lead to 30 points for Wasatch. 75-45, just under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Ole Chole has been so good for Wasatch, trying to keep the momentum going towards the blue bench. But it's feisty one out there for Boulder, trying to stem the tide and get things going the other way. Feisty one, somehow. Some way. Fooled me into thinking she was lead jammer. It's actually a track cut. I apologize. So it's going to be a power jam for Ole Chole and Wasatch. Back block is called on We Smash Us, so a little bit more room on the track in general. And that could favor Ole Chole. Ole Chole does not need a lot of room to begin with, but you take a couple blockers out of the equation, and that is a recipe for success, as we've seen all weekend for the Midnight Terror. Ole, though, having her hands full on the backstretch from Boulder County. Hat Trick doing a great job bracing that 3-wall that forces her off on the backstretch, and then she has to go back between turns 1 and 2 to rejoin. Unprotected Lex called for a penalty for Boulder, and also will be met by the original Skankster, so a lot more room and a lot less resistance for Ole Chole, as Boulder only has 2 blockers out on the track. Ole Chole making the pass, putting 5 up top and calling a halt to this action. Two minutes, 13 seconds and counting. Boulder's held steady at 45 and has been for several jams. Wasatch really putting that boa constrictor tightening defense down on the All-Stars. Wasatch now sporting 80 points. So it's a 35-point advantage for the skaters from Utah. 2 in the box for Boulder, 1 in the box for Wasatch. Second slap house. Lead jammer for the Midnight Terror. X-Ray Vixen not far behind. Both jammers eligible for points. Looking to score, but aren't we all? Ole, bumped off just past turn 2, taps the hips. Wasatch grabs 3. Boulder with aggressive play will grab 2 of their own. It's their first 2 points in probably 6 jams. 83-47. 80 seconds remain in the half. Original Skankster still hanging out in the box for Boulder. Bruiser Ego as well, but both are standing, so less than 10 seconds on those penalties. Speedlejuice and Smashley. Smashley trying that outside that was extremely effective yesterday in that win versus Tucson. Not going to work against Boulder thus far. Speedlejuice going right up the middle. Dancing around turn 1, getting bumped off at that edge. Smashley, 1 by 1, picks away at the wall, and Smashley successfully grabs the lead. Smashley gets the signal from her bench to keep on rolling as Speedlejuice has not made her initial pass yet. Smashley up on the toe stops, hopping on the outside of turn 1, and putting a grand slam up top for Wasatch. Hat trick was your pivot for Boulder, now wearing the star as your jammer as Smashley on the backstretch. A nice little spin move, 4 points, a tap of the hips. You know, people who are watching the stream and people who are here, they'll visit the Mona Lisa, they'll visit the Great Pyramids of Egypt, they'll visit all these nice things, the Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel, but somebody will be like, yeah, but there was this one time at BESTERNS, I saw the footwork that Smashley put through on a jam. Wipes it all off the board. Great work there. Hey, we're at halftime. Your halftime score, 92-47 in favor of Wasatch. We've got a 15-minute break coming your way. Get yourself a snack. Get yourself a drink. Do what you got to do, but get right back here because in 15 minutes, we've got 30 more minutes of action. Welcome back to BESTERNS 2017. Mr. Clitter hanging out with you. Your halftime score, the Wasatch Roller Derby Midnight Terror 92, Boulder County Bombers All-Stars 47. It was back and forth for most of the first half, but the last 5, 6, 7 minutes or so, Wasatch taking command and riding that wave of momentum to a big lead. We've got just about 90 seconds remaining in halftime. Boulder County looking to build on some of the successes that they had for the first 12 or 13. Check that, 22, 23 minutes of the first half. Wasatch, they made some adjustments late, and that really makes the difference. Let's see if they can continue to institute that game plan, or perhaps Boulder saw something that they can adjust to and surprise the Midnight Terror. Again, this is the bout to determine 5th and 6th place for BESTERNS 2017. We've got 2 more bouts for the day. At 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we've got the 3rd and 4th place bout. That's going to be Sac City versus Jet City. And then 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we have the championship bout. Rocky Mountain Roller Derby, or Roller Girls, the host league. Kind of a surprise there. Coming in as the 5th seed of the tournament. It's going to square off against Arizona Roller Derby's Tent City Terrors. They were the 2 seed. That's all 5 p.m. And at the end of that, we are going to know who is going to walk out of here with a big old trophy for BESTERNS 2017. Hopefully you've got something to drink. Hopefully you've got something to snack on. Kick back, relax. We're going to have some fun. It's going to get rolling here in just a second. Jam timer just signaling to the skaters that the whistle he just blew is for the end of intermission. So the next whistle, back to work. Empty penalty box, just like we start out the bout. Ole Chole, the captain's been super successful in the first half for Wasatch. She has a star. It's going to be Feisty One, wearing the Estrella as well for Boulder. But a first penalty of the second half goes to Feisty One. So it's a power opportunity right off the bat for the Midnight Terror. Ole Chole. Lead jammer at turn 2. Ole Chole muscling her way through the backstretch, and the first 5 points of the second half go to the skaters from Utah. Forearm penalty called. Looks like it's going to be on Catastrophe for Boulder, as Feisty One serves her penalty, hops out of the pack, and is eligible for points. Ole Chole, nice little piece of hip work going backwards. Tallies another 5 for Wasatch, and then closes it out.
Can somebody tell the guy on turn 4 not to inquire or turn 3?
Smashley donning the star for the Midnight Terror. Yesterday had a monster game against Tucson. 2020 X-Ray Vixen back out there for Boulder. She had a darn good performance yesterday against Treasure Valley. Smashley picking away the Boulder defense, and at turn 1 grabs that lead. Vixen bumped off on the outside part of the front stretch, but hopped back to work as the blocker, who also was in contact with her, left the track. Vixen approaches at turn 1. Smashley tried that inside path, got bumped off by Catastrophe, and skating out of bounds is actually the call. That's kind of what I was wondering. It didn't really look like that Phoebe had actually made contact. It almost looked like Smashley wanted to do an apex jump, but at the very last second changed her mind, and so instead of doing the jump or colliding with a skater on the track. She ended up just leaving the track without that contact. That's that penalty. However, we've got a penalty on X-Ray Vixen, so we're going to switch out Jammer. Smashley back out there. Power opportunity for Wasatch, and we're going to skate the full 2-minute jam. Smashley scoots through for 5. X-Ray Vixen let free. Unprotected Lex has been hanging out in the penalty box as well, so Boulder has been short a blocker for the last 20 seconds or so. Hat Trick and Catastrophe on the front stretch doing a good job against Smashley, but cannot knock her off the track. She's so strong on those toe stops. It's going to be another 5-point tally. And the Midnight Terror starting out the second half exactly the same way that they finished the first half. Catastrophe with a hit, followed through, but she left the track. And Smashley so quick to hop back onto the track that she was able to take advantage of the separation created between the blockers. And tallying 4 more for the Midnight Terror. That's going to be an 18-4 episode in favor of the skaters from Utah. 120-51 is your score. We've skated just about 3.5 minutes. Check that, about 4 minutes. Hashtag math is hard. Ole Chole, the captain. Bumped off on the inside part, recycled back to turn 4 by Catastrophe. Let's switch over to turn 1. That's where Feisty One makes her way through. Boulder County lead jammer. Ole Chole on the outside finds an edge that gets her through on her initial pass as Feisty One tries to scoot through on the inside part of turn 2 and gets bumped off. Wasatch wanted a track cut on there. They are not going to get it, and the jam is going to come to a halt. But Boulder trying to claw themselves back into it, grabbing 3 points and winning that frame 3-0, 120-54, 25 minutes, 13 seconds, and counting remaining here in the second half. Hey, don't look now, but the penalty box is empty, so we've got 5-on-5 on the track. Smashley donning the star for Midnight Terror. Deputies out there for Boulder. Smashley, turn 1, once again, dominating this category. She's your lead jammer. Deputies fighting and fighting and fighting at turn 2 as the captain for Boulder County, the original Skankster, heads to the penalty box. Hat Trick with a good hit on the backstretch against Smashley, bumping her off, and then Boulder doing a fantastic job of recycling. Smashley has to go from the backstretch almost to turn 3, all the way around to turn 1 to rejoin. That 3-wall being extremely tough on the Midnight Terror side, just as tough as Deputies still trying to get through on her initial pass. Right at you was making the pack expand out and then playing some offense for her jammer. Smashley obliges and is certainly appreciative of that as 5 points go up top. Deputies with the helmet cover in her hand makes that initial pass. Looking for points now as Smashley bumped off on the outside. That's Hat Trick. Says Paws of Fury on the back of the jersey, but the result's the same. Good defensive stance there by Hat Trick. Call off. 5-0 victory for Wasatch, 125-54. 23.5 remaining. Papa Whiskey running out there, having a chat with the referees, all the zebras. Going to get together and chat things out. It's an official timeout on the track by Boulder County. Interestingly, over the last year, Wasatch has played 6 of the teams that are currently in BESTERNS, including Sacred City and Tucson. Earlier in 2017, they beat Sacred City 309-106. had a tough loss to Tucson earlier in the year. That was 225 to 149. Boulder did play Rocky Mountain, who is here in the BESTERNS tournament, obviously as the host. Boulder came up short in that bout, 255 to 88. They will also be taking place in the Mayhem tournament next week, right up the road in Loveland, Colorado. So they are going to continue to stay busy. X-Ray Vixen donning the star for Boulder. It's going to be Ole Chole for Wasatch. Ole Chole going in physical, putting shoulders into people like Castrophoebe. X-Ray Vixen has a 3-wall in front of her, trying to get some help from one of her blockers. That's Glitterous, crashing through that Midnight Terror wall, not quite creating a seam that can be used. But check this out. Track cut on Ole Chole. Power opportunity for Boulder. Maybe just what the doctor ordered here in the second half to turn the tide. As the gold and black needs some kind of a trigger, some kind of an emotional and physical hook to hang their hats on. There is X-Ray Vixen. There is your lead jammer. Vixen crashes into the wall. Glitterous getting in on the mix, helping out her jammer. There's Sauce as well at turn 3. But Wasatch doing a good job staying focused, really kind of converging on things. It's almost like you take a spoon out of a bowl of pudding. Like you don't even know the spoon is there because all the pudding just kind of absorbs back around the opening that you left. Jam is called to a halt. Boulder will win it 4-0. Perhaps little by little, this is something that the black and gold can build on. 125 to 58, 22 minutes and counting. Maybe we want to send a big shout out to the one and only Val Capone. That's from Sarin Gas. Val, hope you're doing well. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Haven't been able to make it out to RollerCon, but you are one of the leaders of this announcing game, revolutionizing it. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Thank you so much, Val. We got an official timeout on the track. Looks like Wasatch wants to take a look at something that happened during that last jam. If I had to guess, and I'm pretty terrible at guessing, but if I had to, I would say that Wasatch is questioning whether or not there should have been some kind of penalty on the Boulder jammer at the end of that frame. Possibly a track cut or something like that. It was right in front of me at the penalty box, but there's a lot of movement going on. A couple of other fun facts on these squads. Boulder County, as a league, was just founded in 2011. A quick 2 years later, in 2013, they became a member of WFTDA. Wasatch has been around since 2008, and just 2 years later, they were a WFTDA member in 2010. Boulder County's motto is Live Bold, Bleed Gold. Been hearing that chanted all throughout the weekend. It's been awful fun. Wasatch even brings their own mascot. We got Sassy Sasquatch in the house, making all kinds of commotion during the Wasatch bouts. This has been one fun weekend. I love the way the roller derby community comes together. I love the way everybody travels and gives some support to anybody and anybody willing to put on skates and a helmet. I also want to take a personal moment and thank all of the announcers that have headed up the BESTERNS tournament here in 2017. We've had people that have never done broadcast before. We've had people that have never done any kind of announcing before. We've also had folks that have done stuff with a microphone, but nothing with roller derby. A team of fantastic announcers have seen us through this. Run through the squad that we have, the all-star squad. We've got people like Pool Boy, Brad Example, and Justice Feelgood Marshall. We've also had Kiki Dickey, 5280 Fight Club skater for Rocky Mountain. Ruckus Ron from Kansas City. Drew Frady, brand new to roller derby announcing. Myself, I am Mr. Clitter. We also had the one and only Bananica Split, who is a junior skater, Junior Olympics, Junior Team USA. Did a fantastic job. None of this could have happened without them. It would have been a fantastic weekend, but they made it all that bit better. Back to the action in this jam. It looks like Wasatch is going to tally 2, and they're going to hold Boulder scoreless. Wasatch losing the challenge. Unfortunately, I was not privy to the information as to why it was challenged. Kind of like when I was a kid, everybody had a secret. They wouldn't tell me. So I'm going to be the adult here and act like the bigger person and pretend like I don't care. Ole Chole wearing the star for Wasatch, going up against Speedlejuice for Boulder. Speedlejuice, nice move on the outside, quick, explosive movement, and that is how you become lead jammer for Boulder County. Ole Chole, the captain, out not too far behind and trying to make up that ground. It's going to be a hit it and quit it by Speedlejuice. 4 on the board for Boulder. And we will skate no more. Smashley and X-Ray Vixen focusing, gathering their thoughts. A lot fewer penalties here in the second half than we had in the first half, so an empty penalty box, 5-on-5 derby. Smashley goes to the inside path, getting some help from Chiquita Wabamia, and Smashley establishes herself as the lead jammer. X-Ray Vixen bumped off on the inside part of turn 1. Awkward fall as Chiquita Wabamia also falling on top of the jammer. Penny Slane, one of the captains for Midnight Terror, going to hang out in the penalty box. As Smashley continues to just do what she's done all weekend long on a no pass, no penalty, getting 4 on the board. There's X-Ray Vixen making her first pass through the pack and eligible for points. Smashley crashing into a 2-wall. That is Brassica Alration. Now it has become a 4-wall right in front of Smashley. And Smashley emphatically calls it off. Took a little bit longer than she'd wanted to get those whistles going. It's going to be 3 points for Wasatch. Boulder held scoreless. So one of the things that we've seen in the last half of the first half and into the second half is Wasatch has been able to hold Boulder scoreless for long periods of time. And these droughts are what is going to make the difference at the end of the day. We're seeing exactly that. 134 to 62 is your score. 18 minutes and 45 seconds. The clock ticking away. Ole Chole back out there working overtime in day 3 of a long tournament. Feisty one back out there for Boulder. Ole Chole está. Tu jammer principal para las damas de Utah. Al otro lado, Feisty one está preparando para marcar. Ole, pasa por el grupo, marca 4 puntos. Y con las manos hace el fin de este jam. Sorry about that. We got Shakira going on overhead of the music. Just kind of an inspirational thing, I think. She'd be pretty good at roller derby, I think. Got the low center of gravity, the hips going on. Shakira, if you're listening, first of all, answer all my tweets, letters. Restraining orders are not in order. That's no cool. But, hey, you can also, I think, establish yourself as one heck of a derby skater. Deputies jamming for Boulder, gets bumped off at turn 1, has to recycle back to the jam line. Smashley taking care of business, grabbing lead already on her first scoring pass. Smashley at turn 2 with a hop, skip, and a jump. Thought she had some points. Instead, gets rejected. One of those Homer Simpson's moments. Track cut. So, 30 seconds in the box is in Smashley's future. Deputies with a power opportunity. Also a full 2-minute jam coming our way. Deputies making her pass on the initial. Putting the cover back on the helmet. Pack sets up just past turn 2 on that backstretch. And Deputies untouched. That's going to be a big 5-point rally. Let's see if Boulder can make something happen here and close the deficit. Deputies at turn 4, meets Penny Slane, fights through Penny Slane. Deputies putting 5 up top for Boulder County. Smashley serves her penalty, gets back into the action. A 3-wall currently being braced by Brassica Alracia at the pivot line. The original Skanks are hanging out between the two groups to extend the size of the pack. Deputies pushing through a 4-wall, right now being braced by Riot Atcha. Penny Slane called on a penalty at turn 1, doesn't even argue, in fact agrees with the referee, takes a seat for 30 seconds. Smashley finds that seam. 5 points for Wasatch. And 2 minutes expires. Lots and lots of action there. 15 minutes, 38 seconds and counting. We've got a 143-76 score in favor of Wasatch in the blue jerseys. X-Ray Vixen for Boulder County. Ole Chole gets bumped off by Catastrophe and goes back to turn 4. Oh, then Ole will not give up on this. That was a good battle between Ole Chole and Catastrophe. Ole Chole coming out on top. As a matter of fact, Catastrophe leaving the track at turn 2, trying to get that big hit. Pack moving extremely fast along the backstretch. And on the inside path, Ole Chole's got to get in one little piece of contact before the jam is called. 4-3 in favor of Wasatch. Boulder's jammer playing extremely aggressively, really wanted to hunt down some points before the call off. Smashley and Feisty One, both of those jammers have been out there an awful lot, working extremely hard. Smashley doesn't mind. It's easier to work hard when you're getting a lot of good results. Smashley has all out long. Kind of the recipe that we've seen thus far is that Smashley will make that pass, tap those hips, and Boulder is held scoreless. We don't quite know just how many points will be awarded to Wasatch yet, as the Zebras are going to huddle up at turn 3, do a little counting, and we'll see a figure here in just a second. Looks like only 1 point for Midnight Terror. Nonetheless, they win the frame 1-0. Boulder County sends their coaches out. They want to chat about something that happened. Looks like they're pointing over to turn 2. Haven't seen the signal yet for review. There it is. Official review has in fact been called by Boulder County. So with 13 minutes, 48 seconds here in the second half, it's a 148-79 advantage for Wasatch Roller Derby's Midnight Terror. One more reminder for new viewers, and in case you're an existing viewer, I just want to make certain that you know what's going on. We've got another bout starting right here, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's going to be the third place bout. Sac City out of Sacramento, California, and Jet City out of Everett, Washington. Going to battle things out. Sac City, the big Cinderella story of the tournament, came in as one of the lowest seeds, ended up playing in the semifinal. Came up short against Arizona, but man, they have represented themselves extremely well. Jet City as well came on strong, had 2 very impressive victories. Couldn't quite hold on against Rocky Mountain last night, kind of a heartbreaker. They led for the first half and about the first half of the second half until Rocky Mountain came in, took over, and ultimately won the bout that was on at 8 p.m. last night. So that's our third place bout, starting at 3 p.m. Mountain. Our championship bout will start at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it features Arizona Roller Derby's Tent City Terrors and the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls 5280 Fight Club. I will be on the call, but in the house it's going to be me and Raucous Ron on the microphone. I believe we have Justice Feelgood Marshall working. check that. It's going to be Brad Example working the broadcast for you. Justice will be doing the third place game here at 3 o'clock. Just a reminder, all the teams competing in this weekend's event are working to boost their rankings and qualify for the 2017 International WFTD playoffs this summer. Whether it's participating on the track, cheering in the stands, or watching WFTDA.tv, all these tournaments provide everyone who loves roller derby an opportunity to witness the most anticipated matchups of the year. You know, we're just around the corner from having D2 and D1 playoffs. Championships are in November. Calendar says June, but you know it is coming awful quick. So it looks like Boulder wanted a penalty on the Wasatch jammer during that last jam. After immense discussion, they in fact win that, so Smashley's going to hang out in the penalty box. Boulder retains their review, and they can challenge something in the last 13 minutes and change. Feisty One's going to have that power start for Boulder. They also have a 4-3 pack advantage as Wasatch has Bruiser Ego in the box.
Feisty One pasa por el grupo, dice que sí se puede. Y ella tiene el ventaje para este jam. Un penal a Glitteres para Boulder. Solo hay 3 bloqueadoras para los dos equipos. Feisty One tiene una barrera de 4 en el área número 2. Smashley está en la pista, pero tiene 3 bloqueadores de Boulder también en área número 2. Feisty está empujando, pero no puede hacer nada. Smashley tiene mucho éxito, pero esto se acabó. 5 puntos para Boulder, 0 para Wasatch. 12 and a half to go, 148-84, 5-0 tally for Boulder County. Beetlejuice and Ole Chole. This is kind of a battle of the two jammers that have all kinds of energy. Bouncing around, lateral movement, forward, springing off the toe stops. Ole Chole somehow still has the energy, the same energy that she had in jam number 1, lead jammer for Wasatch. Beetlejuice takes that helmet cover off, trying to give it over to her pivot. Easier said than done, however, as Wasatch defense has just been extremely successful. Hat trick is your pivot for Boulder, but Beetlejuice has passed her on the track. Looks like with that helmet cover off, she's going to still try to do it herself. Ole Chole for 5, and Wasatch continuing to look good as far as their victory goes, as far as their standings go. That's probably exactly what they have in mind, as the outcome of this one is not in any way in doubt. At the end of the jam, Beetlejuice called for a penalty. Looks like that penalty happened after a star pass was completed, so Boulder will be able to field a jammer for this next round of action. But actually, that appears to be being discussed right now. Yeah, there we go. There's X-Ray Vixen rolling out onto the track. Timeout called by Boulder, as that discussion took a little bit longer, I think, than anybody wanted. Folks, mark your calendar. Playoff seeding
will be July 14th, 2017. I told you this playoff stuff was just right around the corner. We've got about 6 weeks before we know who is playing where and when. And then tickets are already going to be on sale. They go on sale this month, June 20, 2017. Go to WFTDA.com to find more information and more specifics on when those tickets will be available. This timeout comes with 10 minutes, 52 seconds remaining in the second half. 155 for Wasatch, 84 for Boulder. In case you just joined us, it was back and forth all first half long until the last 5 minutes or so when Wasatch took firm command, established a nice lead at halftime, and they've continued to cruise on that through the second half, really establishing themselves and asserting their authority in this final segment. Timeout is over. Boulder's going to be down one blocker. As Beetlejuice was your jammer last jam, managed to give that star off, so we won't have a jammer penalty. It's a blocker penalty. Smashley's out there for Wasatch, but X-Ray Vixen for Boulder grabs the lead at turn 2. Smashley gets out at turn 1 as that pack reforms right there at turn 1. Vixen hits it. A quick tap of those hips is going to put an end to this one like Shaquille O'Neal's acting career. Shazam! That's going to be 4 points for the black and gold. The thing is, Shaquille O'Neal's still in commercials. Kind of makes me, kind of waters down his basketball accomplishments for me. I don't know. I mean, just be cool, man. Michael Jordan isn't all over. Magic Johnson isn't all over. Feisty one wearing the star for Boulder. Commentary aside, Ole Chole lead jammer at turn 2. Feisty, helmet cover in hand, gets through on her pass. Nebraska Alratia sent to the box for Boulder. So a little bit more room for Ole Chole, doesn't even need it. Turn 3 inside, 4 points, call off. Wasatch wins the frame. Four 3 advantage in the pack will continue for Wasatch. Deputies and Smashley. I keep expecting some of these jammers to just get tired and seeing new faces on the line, but that's not it. Both of these teams, let's go through some ridiculous conditioning regimens. Smashley, lead jammer, Wasatch. Oh, and then Smashley crashes into the wall. Pirouette, backspin, 5 points for Midnight Terror. Deputies on that initial pass at turn 3. Smashley making one more pass and at turn 3. Putting a close to things. 4 more points for Wasatch. Timeout on the track by Boulder. Looking to regroup, make the most of the remaining 8 minutes and 17 seconds that we have. 168-88 in favor of Midnight Terror.
This favorite timeout is brought to you by... Who do we want to pick out this time? I like GTL Physical Therapy. At GTL Physical Therapy, we're dedicated to getting you back in the front.
It's incredible to think that the WFTD has 399 member leagues and 50 apprentice leagues spanning 6 continents. So just under the 400 mark, soon with those apprentice leagues going to go over that mark. Incredible. And in 12 years, since 2005, WFTDA has grown from 20 leagues to the aforementioned 400 approximately. There's all kinds of information online at WFTDA.com. And then social media has just exploded with roller derby. You got the Twitter handle, at WFTDA. Instagram is that same handle. Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/WFTDA. You can even go to the website, WFTDA.com, or for all of the various tournaments, playoffs, and championships, you probably already know this, but they can be streamed at WFTDA.tv. Hey, we're back to work on the track. Ole Chole, the captain for Wasatch, wearing the star, getting hung up just past the jam line. Feisty one. Successful run. Lead jammer for Boulder. Right after was waiting for Feisty one. Swing and a miss on the hit. Feisty one rides one of her blockers into contact with Penny Slane just past turn 2. And then a nice battle ensuing there. Catastrophe trying to help out her jammer. But Wasatch doing such a good job reconvening. There's going to 3-wall quickly in front of Feisty one. That's going to lead to that call-off. But a 3-0 victory for the Boulder County All-Stars. Wasatch at a blocker disadvantage, at least for a few seconds. Triple X standing in the box. Smashley's got the star on her helmet. What else is new for Wasatch? 2020 X-Ray Vixen out there for Boulder. Chiquita and Bruiser Ego doing a fantastic job defensively at turn 2. Smashley lead jammer on the backstretch. But hot on the trail was X-Ray Vixen, so Smashley just taps those hips. Will redo it in 30. 6.5 to go. 168-91. Wasatch in the dark blue jerseys commanding the action. Feisty one. Ole Chole. Pack smashing in, not giving the jammers any room to breathe off of that whistle. Chole with a spin move on the inside part. Lead jammer Wasatch. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't believe that you could stay on the track and do that kind of work, so I wasn't sure if there was going to be a penalty. Was not indeed. Everything clean. Fancy work, Ole Chole. A low block called, however, will send Ole Chole to the penalty box, making this a power opportunity for Feisty one in Boulder County. Glitterous, the blocker for Boulder, in the box but now stands, so 10 seconds remaining in that penalty. We'll see if that extra blocker helps create some offense for the All-Stars. Be great timing as Feisty one now through on her initial pass. 2-minute jam is coming our way as Ole Chole was our lead. There goes Feisty one. There's a grand slam for the All-Stars. Ole Chole through the pack after the penalty. 5 points. Midnight Terror not to be outdone. Feisty one getting through for 4 of her own. Pack is set up on the backstretch just before turn 3. Ole Chole runs into a 3-wall, gets bumped off on the inside. Catastrophe again has played so well for Boulder County with the hit, completing the hit, and then recycling back. Feisty one gets 4. Penalty on Suki Slap House. Looks like it's going to be a double penalty on Suki. And then a forearm penalty called on Ole Chole and a penalty on Riot At You. All kinds of room for Boulder to work with. This invigorates the black and gold crowd. The whistle blows for 2 minutes, but this could be a great moment for Boulder County. Power jam, 2-blocker advantage. Just under 4 minutes remaining. 176-109. Speedlejuice donning the star. Speedlejuice getting a pep talk from Papa Whiskey, the coach for Boulder County. He hustles off the track. Speedlejuice going physical at turn 1 with Bruiser Ego. Bruiser hits the track, then Speedlejuice hits the track after taking that hit. That was Orange Crusher, all kinds of physicality. Orange Crusher recycling back to the pivot line where Beetlejuice quickly gets back to work and engages. Whistles start blowing again. Bruiser Egos go into the box just as Ole Chole and Riot Atcha are released. Still down 2 blockers is Wasatch. The pack moving extremely fast. Coming around turn 3 up to turn 4. Ole Chole bumped off on the inside on that initial pass. Max Wrecker going to the sin bin. As the Jammers collide at turn 3, Ole Chole is going to take that as Beetlejuice bumped down to the track. 4 points for Boulder. Chole hitting the track outside of turn 3 and out of habit tries to call it off. Unfortunately, she started off the jam in the penalty box, and lead jammer status has been awarded to Boulder County and Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, remembering that, takes the hit and gets bumped off between turns 3 and 4. Puts a nice little exclamation point and 3 points for Boulder County. So they win the frame 7-4, 180-116. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remain.
2 minutes remaining. 180 Wasatch, 116 Boulder County.
This team's really battling through this.
Max Wrecker standing in the penalty box. The only person in there. So it is a 4-3 advantage for Wasatch in the pack. Smash lead jamming for Wasatch. X-Ray Vixen lead jammer for Boulder. Super Smash Brawler now called on a penalty, so Wasatch down a blocker. Pack sets up on that backstretch where X-Ray Vixen engages. Pushing through, getting some help from the original Skankster. But Wasatch not giving any room, and the action is going to be called to a halt after 2 points go up top for the black and gold. It's 180-118. 1 minute, 23 seconds remaining. We have a timeout on the track called by Boulder County. They're going to regroup and surely go out on their shields. Make sure they get every second of skating, every opportunity to make a statement here at BESTERNS 2017. And one more reminder, at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, immediately following this bout, we are going to have Sac City and Jet City in the battle for third place. Sac City, the Cinderella story, Jet City making an impressive performance as well. That should be one heck of a bout. Both of those squads want to put an exclamation point on the weekend. And then 5 p.m., we've got the championship, Arizona versus Rocky Mountain, to see who takes home the big trophy. We are back to work. Ole Chole lead jammer for Midnight Terror. Feisty One's got a seam and is eligible for points. Lots and lots of contact. There's Glitterous with a big hit at turn 3 against Super Smash Brawler. And Glitterous is going out on her shield. She says, screw it. If I'm going out, I'm going to leave a name for myself. Flying into turn 1 and making contact with Ole Chole. It looks like it was probably an out-of-play block, so Glitterous is going to hang out for the final 30 seconds. 4 points up top for Feisty One, as Ole Chole battling with Catastrophe, who else, and Dyna Fire at turn 4. That's going to be 5 points for Wasatch. Penny Slane bumping off Feisty One at turn 4. And then Sauce getting in on the action, hitting Penny Slane. Waning seconds of the game clock. Counting it down, 3, 2, 1. The game clock now at 0. 37 seconds remaining in the jam. As Feisty One gets through for 4. Glitterous just decided, I think, to go out and be a wrecking ball. Unfortunately, another penalty. And this one comes to a close as Ole Chole puts a little hop over the apex. tallies 4 more points. Your unofficial final, 189-126, Wasatch Roller Derby's Midnight Terror. That whistle I just heard makes it official. Your 5th place team for BESTERNS 2017 is the Wasatch Roller Derby Midnight Terror. Taking 6th, we have the Boulder County Bombers All-Stars. I am Mr. Glitter. This is my last broadcast for the weekend. I will be on the house for the championship bout at 5 p.m. Muchísimas gracias por estar conmigo. Espero que estén disfrutando toda la acción. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Please continue to follow us for the remaining 2 bouts. Be safe. All the Derby love. I am signing off.